The founder of Latinas for Trump, Ileana Garcia, just came out with a statement condemning Donald Trump's attack on the immigrant community. Garcia herself is a state senator in Florida from District 36. As I mentioned, she's the founder of Latinas for Trump. She's also the daughter of Cuban refugees, and she had always told her constituents that Donald Trump was just going to go after the criminals, and he was not going to go after the Cuban and Venezuelan population in her community. That's exactly who Donald Trump is going after, regardless of whether or not there's any criminal background. He's going after hardworking people in her district. I'll read you her statement in just a second. Also, MAGA Republican Congresswoman Maria Elvira Salazar also came out with a statement essentially condemning Donald Trump's attack on the immigrant community. She represents the 27th Congressional District, which includes Little Havana and other areas of Miami in Florida. She's an ultra MAGA individual, and she's also the daughter of Cuban refugees. Let me read first for you State Senator Ileana Garcia's statement. A reminder, she is the founder of Latinas for Trump. And she was responding to what Congresswoman Salazar wrote, which I'll share with you in just a moment. Garcia writes, "I stand with Congresswoman Salazar as the state senator who represents her district and the daughter of Cuban refugees who are now just as American, if not more so than Stephen Miller. I am deeply disappointed by these actions, and I will not stand down. I want to put myself on record. Quote, this is not what we voted for. I have always supported Trump through thick and thin. However, this is unacceptable and inhumane. I understand the importance of deporting criminal aliens, but what we are witnessing are arbitrary measures to hunt down people who are complying with their immigration hearings, in many cases with credible fear of persecution claims, all driven by a Miller-like desire to satisfy a self-fabricated deportation goal. This undermines the sense of fairness and justice that the American people value." But do you notice that State Senator Garcia tries to put this off on like Miller and not Donald Trump, as though this is a Miller plan and he's somehow brainwashing Donald Trump? No. This is what Donald Trump always wanted to do, Ileana. This is what he always said he was going to do. Donald Trump is racist. Donald Trump does not like brown and black people. There's a reason, let's just be blunt with our language, that Donald Trump wants to deport Cubans, Venezuelans, Haitians, Mexicans, Colombians, and other Latinos, and why he wants to bring in the Afrikaners from South Africa by lying and claiming that there's a white genocide taking place in South Africa. Okay, let me show you what Congresswoman Maria Elvira Salazar wrote, and then we have some receipts that I want to show you where we have Congresswoman Salazar promising on tape Trump is never going to go after the innocent people. Trump's only going to focus on the criminals. Here is what Congresswoman Salazar posted. This was her statement. "I am fully aware and heartbroken about the uncertainty now gripping Florida's 27th district because of the recent immigration actions of the administration. Arrests in immigration courts, including people with I-220A and pending asylum cases, the termination of the CHNV program, which has left thousands exposed to deportation, and other similar measures all jeopardize our duty to due process that every democracy must guarantee. I remain clear in my position. Anyone with a pending asylum case, status adjustment petition, or similar claim deserves to go through the legal process. It is an indisputable fact that the vast majority of these individuals fled Cuba, Venezuela, Nicaragua, the three most brutal regimes in our hemisphere, and sworn enemies of the United States. I wholeheartedly agree that the administration must kick out every criminal here illegally, just as President Trump promised. Many still remain, and we should keep our focus on them. Next week, I will meet with Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem, alongside my colleagues Mario Diaz-Balart, Carlos Jimenez, to personally explain the dire situation unfolding in South Florida. I, Maria Elvira Salazar, am proud to be a Republican, and my commitment is to the residents of Florida's 27th District. I will always stand with justice and with our community. Well, we've got tapes, Congresswoman Salazar. This was you on November 11th, 2024 on PBS, where PBS and us here at the MeidasTouch Network and others were saying, no, Donald Trump's going to go after non-criminals. He's going to go and try to revoke people's temporary protected status, which former President Biden protected. And we, and here the PBS host, were saying, Congresswoman Salazar, you and people like State Senator Ileana Garcia, who runs the Latinas for Trump, y'all are selling your people out. You're literally walking them into doom. And you disagreed. You made the promise. November 11, 2024. We got the receipts. Here's what you said then. Play this clip.
I am sure.
Not all 200,000 undocumented in your community. Is that what you're saying?
I am sure that that the Trump administration is not going to be targeting those people who have been here for more than 5 years, that have American kids, that don't have criminal records, that have been working in the economy and paying taxes. I am sure that they're going to hone in on the criminals who arrived less than 4 years ago. Because I wrote the Dignity Act, and I am the first one who understands that you have to give some type of dignity to those who have been here for more than 5 years, people who have roots in the country, not people who are coming to commit crimes.
If I can just clarify from you, have you received those kinds of details from anyone in a potential Trump administration? Because so far what we've heard is a proposal for mass deportations. We have about 30 seconds left. Have you gotten those assurances?
Mass deportation to those who are committing crimes who have been here for less than 5 years. You understand that you have millions of undocumented who are contributing with the economy and are helping our country to be a better one.
Now, here's some video we have of Ileana Garcia, founder of Latinos for Trump, and a Cuban American, explaining why she supported Donald Trump before all of this went down. This was the messaging that she made to her constituents who put their trust and their faith and their lives in her hands, and she basically destroyed their lives. Here, play this clip.
Hi, I'm Ileana Garcia, and I founded Latinas for Trump on the premise of how important it was for me to convey to the rest of the world that there are a lot of Latinos and Latinas supporting Donald J. Trump. It was all about, I'd say, feeling, about expressing the importance of freedom. I think that in the beginning I saw so much antagonism because of some of the comments that he had made to me were completely misinterpreted, but I can understand how different people can feel in different manners. When I saw that there were people that were unfriending people and were threatening other people because they liked Donald Trump, I was like, no, this is crazy. This is something that you see in a third world country, in a communist country. This can't possibly happen in my United States. So for me, it was really important to go out and to bring these people out of the woodworks, that I knew that they were there. They were part of the silent majority as well. And to create this movement.
Now, obviously, the pressure seems to be weighing on Ileana Garcia. This was from May 6, 2025, when she was speaking at an event and she collapsed while she was speaking. I think she realizes, and I think it's weighing on her conscience, what she's done to her people, and that she's brought in someone who's worse than Castro and Donald Trump, worse than Maduro and Donald Trump. She literally brought what her parents fled right here to the United States to screw over her people and to screw over all Americans. But here she is fainting on May 6th. Play this clip.
So, Governor, forgive me. I've got to sit down because I am not feeling well.
Hey, we got you.
Now, she's always been very combative, threatening to sue people who would criticize her positions on immigration and highlighting how contradictory it is. Here's an example where she was speaking to a pro-immigrant advocate, Thomas Kennedy, who was basically criticizing her policies. And you'll see her kind of get in his face, wag her finger, and threaten to sue him. Here she is, April 19th, 2023, doing that. I could show you a ton of other videos of her, but I just want you to see the type of person that she is. Here, play this clip right here.
Your name was missing from that.
He loves to target me. That's why I give you no validity whatsoever.
I give you no validity. You won because of voter fraud.
You have mentioned priorities that you have. However,
I'm illegitimate how, Thomas?
You won because of a ghost candidate funded by FPL.
Can you put him on video saying that?
You won because of a ghost candidate funded by FPL.
Okay, thank you. You wouldn't be if I sued you tomorrow for that comment, would you be up for that?
Sue me.
Good.
Sue me for defamation.
It's on record. It's on record. We got a good defamation coming up.
Yeah.
We got a good defamation coming up. But what's coming up now is the validity of a couple of other things that are going on.
Sue me. Let's go on a defamation trial.
I'm sure.
I'm
sure.
Well,
it will be on record.
Anne would like to mention something, but I do want to say that I understand that you're saying that you want to prioritize certain things.
Now, you all may remember as well, back on April 16th, 2025, we shared with you an op-ed by a Republican, a major Miami donor, who blasted these Cuban American politicians for not confronting Trump on immigration. And this was April 2025. He wrote the op-ed, and the Cuban politicians like Garcia and like Salazar and others remained absolutely silent. Mike Fernandez is a healthcare billionaire, big Republican donor in the past. And he said, if you're not going to support our Cuban community, he said, make room for others who can. And they didn't make room for others. They stayed there. They kept on defending Donald Trump. And now we see the results of Donald Trump sending the National Guard, for example, against the people in California, and Donald Trump's ICE waiting in the bushes and in the courthouses in Miami, in Florida, trying to send the Cubans back to Cuba, the Venezuelans back to the Maduro regime. Here's what Mike Fernandez wrote back in April. If you can't find your voice at this moment or tell the difference between one dictator and another, then perhaps it's time to make room for others who can and have a vision that you may lack. And he was directing it at Congressman Ballart and Congresswoman Salazar and Ileana Garcia and people like that. And he was basically saying that I know what it means to flee tyranny. Like you, I carry that history in my bones and that pain in my heart. But like a growing number in our community, I have watched with dismay as the very values we once found sanctuary in are now being attacked by a previously unthinkable threat, the sitting president of the United States. In the face of all of this, the silence from our own leaders, the sons and daughters of exiles, has become deafening. The silence is not neutrality nor ignorance. It is complicity and cowardice. Your silence has caused fear and real harm to many in our community and in your districts. Our 4 representatives are just bending the knee to the presidency because they're afraid for themselves. They're afraid for their job. They're going to be remembered for turning their back on their community. It's time we find somebody who fights for what is right for the American values and for this community, or just step aside. And now we know the 500,000, 600,000 Cubans and Venezuelans have lost their temporary protected status because Trump revoked their temporary protected status, which they were given by former President Biden. Just think about that for a moment, okay? Former President Biden allowed the Venezuelans, Cubans, and Haitians, and Colombians and others to have temporary protected status to be here in the United States. By and large, the Cuban and Venezuelan population rejected Biden and said, we want Trump, the guy who said mass deportations now and was revoking the temporary protected status. Then he does what he says he was going to do, revoke their temporary protected status. And now they're shocked? Seriously? Well, I wanted to share that with you, what Salazar and Garcia are saying. You let me know what you think in the comments. Hit subscribe. Let's get to 5 million subscribers, and thank you for watching.
Love this video? Continue the conversation by following us on Instagram @MeidasTouch and help us blow past 1 million followers.